and welcome to this week's edition of the Side Splitters. My name is Lyle.
And my name is Andy.
And I'm Fresco.
That's right, people. Our goal tonight is to leave you in stitches for episode 50. We're finally here.
We made it.
We made it.
We made it. We survived the hurricane.
We made it. It's episode 50. As per every 10 episodes, our good friend Fresco is here.
Oh, I'm a good friend now. Yay!
Good friend to the podcast. I guess good friend to me. Okay, brother to Andy?
No,
I am far better a brother to Andy than he is to me.
You know
I don't
what?
necessarily agree with that.
You're there for monetary support. I'm there for moral support.
Look.
Well, I mean, just because I am a bit, I guess, emotionally awkward. I don't know how to say that.
All right,
that's socially awkward.
All right, that's enough. We're not doing that here.
Oh.
Take that to Judge Judy or something. I gotta tell people why I'm mad.
Wait, you're mad?
I am mad, a little bit.
Tell him why you mad, son.
I'm gonna tell him why I'm mad. So, I was shopping earlier this week, right? And I've said this before. I've complained about this before. But if I could just level with the listening audience for a second here, let's all get deep down and let's all get huddled in together, you know? Let's just get real close to our screens and our microphone. And I just want to ask a little tiny favor. Everyone come closer to whatever you're listening to. Just want to ask a little tiny favor. Beat your damn kids, alright? How hard is it? Just beat your children. Why is that so difficult? Please, I'm asking every parent out there that listens, beat your kid. Do it right now. I don't care if they did anything wrong. Just go beat them. Let them know that they should have something to be afraid of.
Later, come here.
I'm just saying, why? Why do I have to go to the grocery store every week and there is nothing but screaming children? Constantly. They run around and they scream. They have no supervision whatsoever. And I'm like, where is the parent? And you see the parent and they're just staring at what has gluten in it. Like, I don't want this. It has gluten. Stop worrying about gluten and start beating your children. Why is it so difficult? I hate it. Oh, God.
I mean, I can see your point. I'll never argue with beating children. Like, I think this generation gets rid of a lot. Like, they get away with a lot of shit that a good smack in the mouth would fix.
You know, it doesn't even have to be in the mouth. You know, I know how you Puerto Ricans do. You get the wooden broomstick out and the wooden spoon and everything.
Excuse me.
People left and right with it.
Actually, we get beaten with sandals, like flip flops.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah.
Chanclas.
Chanclas, whatever it is.
You see, when we were kids and in the store, if we grabbed something off the shelf that our mom did not want or was not planning to buy, we got smacked with that object. That object in the aisle. Just we pick up a box of fucking Lucky Charms and no, that ain't on the shopping list. Smack back on the shelf.
I mean, I'm not even asking that much. Just even a couple of light slams. It's fine. Just smack them on the butt if you have to. Something, a punch in the arm, anything.
Ow. Goddamn dog.
Yes, beat him with the dog. That's fine too.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Especially like kids these days also will make the argument that they're like, you know, oh, if you hit me, I'll call DIFAs. Like, good.
Call them. Come let them see how you live in a nice house, are properly fed, properly clothed, get straight A's in school because I beat your ass.
You sing it, sister. Anyway, now that that's off my chest, this is episode 50, so here's the deal. We have Fresco, we have me, we have Andy. It was difficult, but the three of us got together.
Right?
We had a hurricane to fight through, people. A hurricane.
This is not going to be our of recent short episode. It's going to be the more traditional style. It's going to be an hour and a half, give or take. It's going to have clickbait news. It's going to have a really fun talking point. And it's also going to have the first week of Lyle and Andy's football picks. We're back. It's back. Everything's back to working order. We're doing it again.
Oh, goddamn football.
And, celebratory first week, we're going to have Fresco on it too.
Woo!
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
Foosball!
Going to be a blasty blast. But we're going to get right into that because me and Andy did something over the weekend that was...
You said we wouldn't talk about that.
Oh, I know you're a little ashamed, Andy, but I'm telling people.
Oh, God.
Andy,
don't judge me.
Andy is a proud owner of a fantasy football team that he drafted all by himself.
I did.
He did. I'm so proud of him.
I did. And you know what? I'm proud of them for sticking with me. Even when none of you assholes wanted them.
I'll have you know, I wanted R. Kelly. You took R. Kelly right from underneath of me.
He pisses on people.
Yeah, that's why I wanted him.
Right.
If I'm going to have a golden team, they need to have golden showers.
But we're in a league with the guys from Countdown to Geek Town and a few other people. I think the Nerdy Harry is involved and all that. So just a couple podcasts got together. We're all in a fantasy football league. Should be a lot of fun. We'll keep you guys updated on how that goes throughout the weekend. Let's see how long Andy lasts.
Well, I mean, how can you go wrong when I have, people like, B Quick and K Hunt? I even have a Woodhead.
As much as I like the K Hunt and the D Woodhead, I think B Quick might be my favorite out of all of them. Just something about it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, it's a shame that like Yahoo thinks that I have a terrible team, but I don't even care. Screw Yahoo. When was the last time Yahoo was relevant?
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Jersey Jackwagons all the way.
Jersey Jackwagons all the way. That's the name of Andy's team. I thought I was being clever and named my team. Originally, it was, dude, you're getting Odell, because I have Odell Beckham Jr. on my team. So I was like, oh my god, dude, you're getting Odell. Like, dude, you're getting Odell from back in the 90s commercial. Anyway.
Yeah.
Apparently you can't fit all of that, so I had to just go with, you're getting Odell. And then I went to go put the picture of the guy that used to say it in the commercial, and it wouldn't work on the mobile app. And I'm like, well, no one's going to get the joke because I don't have the dude, and I don't have the dude. So I feel like it's going to be lost on some people, but, we're sticking with it. And if anyone wants to know what it's about, they can listen to this podcast because I just explained it. Let's get into football talk.
So, I thought we were.
Yeah, without further ado, let's go into the picks, though. I mean...
Oh, gotcha.
We're going to do picks a little different this year. See, last year, I would withhold my picks till the end of Andy's ramblings. There's no need for that. I did that only to make sure he didn't just take whatever picks I went with. But you know what? Something tells me he doesn't care what my picks are.
No, not one damn bit.
And I think we all learned that from last year. So what we're going to do is just kind of keep the flow of everything going. I'm going to give the teams playing. I'll give my pick. Fresco will give his pick. And then Andy will give his pick. So, without further ado, first up, Thursday night, the night this is being released, so exciting, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the New England Patriots. Fresco, who are you taking? I will be taking... What's that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm taking the Pats.
I am taking the Pats as well. Andy?
Now, see, this is where you guys messed up, because the Chiefs are going against the Patriots, so they're visiting the Patriots on their home turf. Now, the last time Chiefs went after Patriots, it didn't end too well for Custer. So I'm thinking that, if the Chiefs are on the attack, which they're mostly a defensive team anyway, if they're on the attack, I feel pretty woeful for the people that they got in their crosshairs. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one.
Okay, Andy's got the Chiefs. Before we move on, there's another thing I wanted to point out. I'm so sorry to just cut this off in the middle of this here. But Andy, I wanted to tell you, the poor guy, ladies and gentlemen, Andy did so well in his fantasy draft. The poor guy, he picked the Buccaneers defense as his defense. And I know why you did it, because the Buccaneers never failed you last year, and that's
Right.
It's brilliant. It's hysterical. When I seen it, I laughed until I peed myself. It was awesome. I have some terrible news for you.
No, I know the Miami game.
They are going against the Miami Dolphins, and being that they're both in the state that might not be there by the end of this week, the game is postponed. So because of that, you're going to be down a defense. So you might want to try to pick up a defense before the games begin tomorrow. It's up to you if you want to do that. You're going to have to drop Tampa Bay to do that, but
but I don't want to drop the Buccaneers.
you could pick them back up next week if you really wanted to.
Oh, is that how that works?
I mean, as long as no one takes them, which promise me they're not going to.
Yeah, you got to run me through the process because I am totally new to this whole fantasy draft thing.
I'll do just that. Okay, after the pod. So carrying on. Next up, we have the New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills. I am taking the Bills. Fresco, who you got?
Who is it again? It's the Bills and...
It's the Jets at the Bills.
Oh, the Jets at the Bills. You know what? I'm going to take the Jets.
He's going to take the Jets. Andy, who do you have?
All right, now, while I do have a whole lot of confidence that Jets can take on Buffalo Bills, let's not forget, because I'm sure lots of people out there have, that Buffalo Bill was famous for riding tornadoes. So that being the case, if you have jets flying into tornadoes, it's going to throw off their flight patterns. They can't target as well. You can't use a sidewinder against a force of nature. And I don't care how slack-jawed the hillbilly is at the top of the tornado, hooting and hollering and shooting his gun in the air. They're not going to be able to get past the gale force winds. So I think from that aspect alone, it's got to be the Buffalo Bills.
Right. Buffalo Bills. Okay, next up we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Redskins. I am taking the Redskins. Fresco, who you got?
I hate the Eagles. I'm taking the Redskins.
Attaboy. Andy?
I think this is the part where we become unanimous in this because, honestly, in the matchup where Eagles, even visiting against the Redskins, Redskins have that attunement with their natural surroundings, and Jesus Eagles are Christ. Eagles, man. They literally wear eagles on their heads. Like, there's no way that having Eagles visit them, be like, come, a bird, and they're like, whatever, dude, tomahawk. And then they're suddenly a peril. So I would say the Redskins on this one.
Redskins, you got it. Next up, we have the Raiders at the Tennessee Titans. The Oakland Raiders at the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
I am taking the Raiders. I'm sorry. I'm taking the Raiders, Fresco. I'm not used to going first.
Okay. I was told to take the Raiders because they have good-looking butts in their uniforms. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong team. Then I am going to take the Raiders anyway.
Okay. Andy, who do you got?
I'll burn them on.
All right. So the issue here is that while Raiders are pretty good at their job, they are going against Titans, which are larger than just regular giants. Like, giants will come up to the knees of a Titan. So by that account, it's like they're being attacked by a bunch of pinky toes, and pinky toes are not going to win the battles here. So I would say that, boo to the pinky toes and yes to the Titans.
Okay, he's picking the Titans, ladies and gentlemen. Now, here's something interesting. The next game on the list would be the Buccaneers at the Dolphins. I put not available, but do we want to pick between Mother Nature and no one?
Ooh.
Because what happens if this is all just some hoopla and nothing actually happens?
I think something will happen. I don't think it's enough to stall the game on. I've seen people play in some pretty weird conditions, and I don't think this is going to be above just like, oh, hey, there's a little rain outside. I mean, that shit flies in baseball, but not in football.
Right. So do we even... We're not going to mention it. Okay. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans.
Oh, Jaguars and Texans.
Yeah, I'm going with the Texans. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry.
I think I'm going to take the Jaguar.
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 Jaguar. Andy?
Jaguar.
Alright, so we know that jaguars are a very vicious predatory animal, and I don't know if you guys have played Red Dead Redemption, but they are a thorn in your side almost the entire time. And while Texans aren't always necessarily cowboys, it stands to reason that they're in the same area and could be ambushed pretty easily by the jaguar. So I am gonna go with the jaguar on this. They may be able to take down Pickles, but I don't think they can actually take down Texans.
Oh, they cannot take down Pickles.
I said maybe.
Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Detroit Lions. I am taking the Cardinals. Fresco, who you got?
I think Detroit's going to win that one.
Okay. Andy?
Okay, so the problem with the Lions is that they're all male lions, which are not really interested in hunting.
Andy.
I think that the Cardinals might actually just like be up in the trees and annoying them, and like they're just either going to be too lazy or too like self-absorbed to do anything about it. So I'm going to say that the Cardinals are going to win that one.
I missed it. I don't know about you, but I missed it. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons, the Super Bowl losers, at the Chicago Bears. I am taking the Falcons. I'm sorry. I'm taking the Falcons.
You're out of your mind. I'm taking the Bears.
The Bears. Okay. Andy?
It is...
Back to the good part.
It is getting towards the winter season. It's starting to get a little colder out. So I think the Bears are going to be more interested in gathering food for the winter and not dying in their sleep.
You realize these are people and not animals, right?
Oh, I mean, wait till he gets to the Packers.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Look, I'm going with what I know, all right? Zoology is what I know. I don't know football. So
I just got that. Oh, that's brilliant.
So this is my thoughts on the matter. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you. The Bears are going to be hunting and gathering. They're going to have no interest in dealing with Falcons. There'll be a minor annoyance, and the Falcons might actually get what they want out of it. I don't know if they're going to do a whole lot of damage to the Bears. If it's going to be a victory, it's going to be a close victory with them barely beating the Bears. So I'm going to say that's going to be the Falcons.
Falcons. Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's freaking brilliant. Okay. Next up. You'll get it later, Fresco, I promise. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. I am taking the Bengals. Fresco, who you got?
Ravens all day.
Ravens, okay.
Joe Flacco, son.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco, son.
All right. Andy?
The Bengals, while they are an endangered species, they are still notoriously good hunter. They are a good hunting cat. And while the Ravens are called, very smart, intelligent birds, I still don't think they can stand up physically to a Bengal tiger. So I'm going to say that's going to be, I'm going to give this one to the Bengals.
Bengals. Okay.
Y'all are out of your mind.
Out of our minds. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Andy, behave yourself. I'm
going to try.
I'm taking the Steelers. Fresco, who you got?
These are the ones I was told I should pick because the Steelers have apparently impeccable buttocks in their pants. So we're going to go with the Steelers.
Okay, Steelers. Andy?
Steelers and Browns. Is there a difference?
Now on the West Coast there isn't.
So the Steelers are
I'm
at the
not
Browns,
editing
right?
anything. Like this, I'm done with editing.
So Steelers at the Browns, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Browns are there. So I remember, I think from last year, the origin of the Browns was that it was an elf, I guess. So I'm assuming it's like
the brownie.
A brownie?
Elf, yes.
Yeah, a brownie elf. All right. So if that's the case, you have, steelworkers up against brownie elves, manufactured man versus nature. It never really works out for nature in that respect, because we're paving paradise and put up parking lots. So I'm going to say that the Steelers are going to beat the Browns.
Steelers, got it. Oh, man, I'm realizing why I used to mute myself back in the day. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Rams. Man, that sounds weird to say, even still. I am taking the Colts. Fresco, who you got?
Well, I'm going to pay homage to my high school and take the Colts as well.
Oh. Bridgeton sucks.
We were Cumberland, thank you.
Whatever, they suck too. They weren't the chickens.
They weren't the chickens. You're absolutely
Our fathers
right there.
didn't leave us.
Oh, I beg to differ. My father came back.
And then what did he do? He left again.
For those that don't know, we're talking about our high school football teams. Fresco went to, I'm guessing Andy did too, right? Cumberland Regional?
No, Andy went to Delsey Regional. I started at Delsey and then finished my high school career in Cumberland County, or Cumberland Regional High School.
Yeah, which was the Colts. The football team was the Colts there, right? The Cumberland.
Yes.
Delsey was what, the Knights or something like that?
Crusaders.
Crusaders, that's it. the Vineland, which is the high school I went to all 4 years and played football for, we were the Fighting Clan. That's with a C, by the way. But our mascot was a giant muscular chicken. I'm not kidding. Look it up. Vineland Fighting Clan. It is a giant chicken.
I kind of picture the Family Guy like giant chicken like.
Well, that's. The Family Guy one kind of looks a little bit more friendly at first. This one never looks friendly. It's just always like roided out like I'm going to beat you now.
Always in a foul mood.
Yes. Andy, Colts and Rams, who you got?
Okay, so Rams I think have better stopping power. Colts kind of are show-offs by nature, and they're kind of like loose, free spirits, I would say. But down and dirty, I think the stubbornness of the Rams and the sheer amount of power they can put behind their hits are going to be a hell of a lot better than what the Colts can do as far as a sprinting thing goes. So I'm going to say the Rams on this one.
Okay. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks at the Green Bay Packers. I am taking the Packers on this one. Fresco, who you got?
I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Seahawks. Andy?
Okay, so Seahawks visiting the Packers. I mean, this is a weird matchup for me. So I am actually gonna say, no, I'm gonna say the Seahawks. I think honestly, visiting the Packers, like I kind of envision the dock workers that kind of load the ships. And the Seahawks are, at tune with the sea, so they'll just be like pecking them off the boats until they fall in the water, and then they got nothing else to pack. So I would say the Seahawks.
Uh-huh. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers at the San Francisco 49ers. I understand the 49ers were terrible last year, being the second worst in the entire league. That being said, I hate Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers that much. I am taking the 49ers in this one. Fresco?
Well, you're a fool because the 49ers did do terrible last year, and I'm going to take the Panthers.
Yeah, well, my wife likes the Panthers, and I think she's just a front runner from when they went to the Super Bowl and failed to beat the Broncos and haven't done nothing since. Therefore, I always go against them no matter what. Andy, who are you taking?
So the natural environment of the 49er is in a dark cave, mines, if you will. Panthers are dark cats, so I think that if they're going to ambush the 49ers in their home fields of the mines, they have natural camouflage. They're good predatory animals. I think they would get the drop on them. I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Yeah. Panthers. You guys can suck it when I tell you how they lose. Next up is the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. I obviously am taking the Giants. Fresco.
Well, you should know then who I'm taking.
I know you're taking the Cowboys because you'll get beat if you don't.
I live in a house full of Cowboys fans now, people.
Andy, who do you got? Giants or Cowboys?
Well, I'm taking advantage of the fact that Jess is not immediately next to me to hit me when I say the Cowboys suck an entirely large ass. Which is exactly what's going to happen too, because Giants being giant as they are, I've seen Indian in the cupboard. That little Cowboy didn't do shit. So I'd imagine a whole team of them wouldn't do anything against the Giants. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
Right. Whatever works. Next up, we have Saints, the New Orleans Saints at the Minnesota Vikings. I had trouble picking this one, so I'm going to do the age-old opposite of whatever Andy picks here.
Well, I'm taking the Saints.
Fresco is taking the Saints. Very good. Okay, Andy, who you got? Now, keep in mind, people, the Saints have the quarterback that Andy drafted in the first round, D. Breeze, as he's seen it. Drew Brees.
The Breeze.
Very good pick. Very proud of him for that.
Okay, so Saints going into Viking territory. Vikings are more or less an aggressive team. They're not really known for their defense, and the Saints are bringing something far worse than swords and shields. They are bringing gospel, which unfortunately hasn't worked out for the Norwegians in the end, because they lost all semblance of their original religions and pantheons, and that is largely in fact due to missionary work. So I would say that the Saints are going to beat the Vikings.
So you're taking the Saints?
I am taking the Saints.
Okay. I just gotta say this. When we first started doing this, the first game I think you picked, or at least it was in the first week, was the Saints and the Cardinals. And the question you asked me made me realize I don't know anything about football mascots. Because you sat there and you said, "Oh, Cardinals. Is that the bird or the holy man?" And my mind was blown.
Because it did make a difference.
Absolutely, it makes a difference, but I never thought of it that way. Anyway, so I will be taking the Vikings for that, opposite of Andy, like I said. So finally, last but not least, we have the San Diego Chargers at the Denver Broncos. I will be taking the Broncos on that one. Fresco, who you got?
I think I'm also going to go with the Broncos.
Broncos. And Andy?
Alright, so unless you're a big man like the Mountain from Game of Thrones, if you try to get into a shoving match with a horse, you are not going to win. I don't care how fast you charge. The horse will always beat you in horsepower, per se. So just by sheer muscle alone, two immovable objects going at each other, the bigger object is going to move the smaller one. So I'm going to give this one to the Broncos.
Right. And that'll do it for our football picks, people. Yeah, that should be a fun week. So excited. Football's finally here. So without further ado, let's finish up with that and go right into everyone's favorite segment of the week, clickbait news. We have it here before we get into the big portion of episode 50 here. So let's go right into it. And fair warning, I originally said I was only going to do 2 stories this week, but I have a third story. It's just Andy already knows about it, but Fresco doesn't. So we're going to start with that one.
Okay.
So, Fresco, can you tell me what libraries are asking people to stop doing?
Libraries are asking people to stop masturbating on inside of the art books.
That's exactly,
I was going to say that.
That's exactly what Andy was going to say. See, I kind of figured this one would trigger everyone a little bit too, so it was kind of perfect. I could not go without it, even though I've already told Andy about it. Libraries across the country are apparently, well, I don't know if it's across the country, but they are asking people to stop paying fines with Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
What?
I said libraries are asking people to stop paying
fines. No, I heard
fines.
you.
Oh. Well, your brother said you were deaf. I wasn't sure.
I'm blind, not deaf.
Oh, blind. I'm sorry. I know it's one of the things you can't do. It's okay.
Oh my God.
Anyway. Yeah, libraries are Chuck E. Cheese tokens are for arcade games, not paying your overdue book fines. One local library is reminding its patrons. The Peabody Institute Library, which is the public library for the town of Danvers, which I think is in Illinois, took to Facebook this week to spread the word. I don't know if it's Illinois or not, but I know there is a Danvers, Illinois. I just don't know if that's the one here or not. Yeah, this summer we've had a surge of folks attempting to pay fines and printing fees with tokens from Chuck E. Cheese and bonkers, the library wrote. Since they are not legal tender, we cannot accept them. Wow, good for you.
Right?
Like, really? Oh, here we go. Bookkeeper Sue Contos told Salem News she counted 3 tokens from Chuck E. Cheese's and 1 from Bonkers, another kids' entertainment center in Peabody, before realizing they weren't actually money.
Why wouldn't you not notice that, like, before, like, while you're getting the fee given to you?
It even says, please note, we also cannot accept Canadian coins.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, that's what's going on there. What's going on here is... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that I think that they're, like, that librarian is either really bad at identifying money that's in their hands, or they're just, like, they don't care. And they stopped caring to the point where they just ceased getting real money that they could actually use. And then now all of a sudden it's a big stink. Because honestly, like, if you don't notice that you're getting Chuck E. Cheese money at the time of being like, oh, you're overdue on your book about fine art that the pages stick together for. We need you to do something about this. And like, oh, here's obviously a gold dollar. Or 3, that should square me up. And like, oh well, thank you for your patronage, sir. Wait a minute.
Right. So I guess we should not do Florida quite yet. That is one to be saved for the end. So we are going to go to China. This one no one knows. So
do they play joke?
Hold your applause, whatever it is. Hold on. Hold your horses. Hold your horses.
Hold your Broncos.
Yeah, God, couldn't get out of me. Let's see here. How was the suspected drunk driver caught?
I'm gonna say the drunk driver was caught inside of his car as it was crashed into something, trying to drive away.
Okay, Andy, how was the drunk driver caught?
By trying to drive on the train tracks.
Unfortunately, you're both wrong. Suspected drunk driver arrested after he stood up on the roof of his moving vehicle.
What?
I said suspected drunk driver arrested.
Oh my God, I heard you. Just details, man, details.
A man in China is facing up to 6 months in prison after he climbed on top of his moving car and stood on the roof. According to reports, the man surnamed Liu, is suspected of drink driving.
Drink driving.
That's what it says. Footage shows the moment he stood on top of the vehicle in Bengbu City, East China's Anhui province.
It's terrible.
The man was caught on camera riding the white car and moving his arms around. No one is thought to be driving the vehicle. 2 lorries can be seen driving past him as he continued to stand on it. The man seems to be completely unfazed by the 2 lorries driving past him. At one point, as the car approaches a crossroads, he can be seen on the sunroof to operate the steering wheels with his feet. However, when he saw traffic police, he quickly jumped into the car and tried to flee. According to reports, he accidentally drove into a dead end and was caught. It's claimed that Liu made a successful deal with a business partner, which was going to make him a lot of money, and he said he was excited.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's worse ways to celebrate. Although I don't like the hypocrisy here. So if Mr. Bean does this, it's endearing, but because somebody in China does it, it's a crime.
Well, that's what the song's all about, Andy. I mean, the song clearly says, "I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it." There's a reason why they're telling us this, because they're warning us. Like, look, I know how much you guys hate when people get excited, and they can't hide it. And it's about to happen to me, so I'm letting you know. See, he didn't warn anyone, is what I'm getting at here.
Okay, I see your train of thought here. Also, how would you pronounce Too Fast, Too Furious in a Chinese accent?
I'm not doing
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Sometimes you don't have to do things. let's
Bangkok Drift doesn't exactly have the same ringtone as Tokyo Drift.
Let's go to Florida.
No, not now. There's a hurricane coming.
Oh, there certainly is. Can you tell me why the Florida man had his parents fly to Florida from India?
Dog crapped on the rug and they didn't know what to do.
No, that's not why. Fresco, can you tell me why the Florida man had his parents fly to Florida from India?
Because he got his penis stuck in a coffee pot.
Ooh, so close. Here's what actually happened. Florida man had parents fly from India to help him beat his disobedient wife. You see why I had to do this one?
Wow.
There's a hurricane coming, all right, and it's Mr. and Mrs. McGive.
Good Lord.
Oh, man, that's great.
Mom, Dad, come home and help me beat my wife.
Okay, police rescue the mother of one from a horribly abusive situation. A man's parents reportedly flew from India to Florida to discipline his wife for being disobedient. Authorities rescued the mother of a 1-year-old from what they described as a horribly abusive situation. See, I'm just seeing this as a horrible translation problem. They wanted help beating the child because they hear our podcast and go, "Oh, we have to beat her now."
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously. But, sometimes when you say, "Oh, I need help beating my kid, I need help beating," maybe her name was something like, Makid? I don't know what people call themselves over there.
I mean, it's Florida. So regardless if it's Indians or not, it's Florida. So they probably named the kid after the wife. You know?
Oh.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
The whole female junior thing, which is weird in my eyes. But anyway.
That is pretty weird.
The woman who has not been named was held in her home against her will by her husband, Devbir Kalsi, 33. Police said his parents had flown to his home to participate in the abuse. Investigators believe Kalsi and his parents, Jasbir and Bhupinder, had...
Bhupinder.
Oh shit! Oh man! Oh, okay. Damn. I need to take culture sensitivity courses. I really do. But at the same token, Bhupinder.
If you're quite finished. Nope. Not done yet. Okay.
Oh man.
You done? You good? You alright?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So Jafar and Bhupinder had been abusing the woman for a long period of time. The arrest report said Kalsi struck her repeatedly and forcefully, and when the woman attempted... I just want to point out, we are laughing our asses off about women abuse.
No, definitely not about women abuse. Although, unless you count naming somebody Bhupinder abuse.
I think Bhupinder was the mother or the father. I don't know which gender that's supposed to be, but it's one of them.
And wait, and the other one is Jafar?
It's Jasbir. Jasbir.
For a second there, I thought you said Jafar and Bhupinder, and I just was like, done.
I did.
Wow.
Okay. And when the woman attempted to defend herself, his parents began hitting her too, leaving bruises on her face, neck, and torso. The victim told her parents in India about the abuse, who notified the sheriff's office. When officers arrived at the property to investigate, they had to enter forcibly after they found the door blocked by Kelsey. It doesn't specify which one of the three, Jafar, Bhupinder, or the son. The victim was heard inside the property screaming to be saved and asking officers to rescue her child. There's a lot more here. I don't care about anything else. It's all three could also
was the baby okay? Was the kid okay?
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I'm upset. Well, I'll put it to you this way: the charges of the parents and the parents and his parents are aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and failure to report child abuse. So it's not actual child abuse. So it's just. So I'm going to say yes, the child's okay. They were just trying to stick him with whatever charges they could.
Yeah, so I think we're actually avoiding the bigger question here. Is now we're quick to call her a victim. We really are. But,
oh God, Andy, think very carefully about what you're about to say.
Let it out, Andy.
I am. So I'm wondering, what did she do that was so bad that they had to get plane tickets to beat her ass? Because there's only so bad you could fuck up a sandwich.
I mean, maybe she's one of those heathens that put ketchup, mayo, and mustard on a ham and cheese.
She clearly doesn't withhold sex. They have a child, so I don't know what she could have done to warrant this extreme case of action against her.
Well, being disobedient, apparently. Maybe she let the child scream in the middle of grocery stores, and they heard about it on a podcast, and he just got so pissed off. Didn't you beat that child yet? No, I'm not beating the child. That's it. If you're not going to beat the child, I know someone that will. And you. Hold on, I got to make a phone call.
I mean, yeah. And you know what? We should be praising them for this course of action because they did exactly what we needed them to.
Well, they went a little above and beyond, and honestly, I can't help but feel guilty that the woman got beat the way that she did. I mean, if it wasn't for our podcast and them listening to it, they would have never had a problem with mistranslations, and mother and father wouldn't have got involved. Jafar wouldn't have had to come out of his genie lamp and beat this poor woman. It's just, you know what? I feel terrible.
You should.
I feel terrible that not once did I ever consider the name of my future child to be Bhupinder.
I mean, how would you feel? How would you feel if you got your ass beat by someone named Bhupinder?
I mean, as long as my nose was fine.
Yeah.
Boop.
I would feel I would only feel okay with it if they went boop every time they hit me.
You know, I would let anyone beat me up if they did that. Alright, so, gentlemen, we are about 40 minutes in, I think. Is that right? We are an amount of time in. I don't know. But what I do know is we didn't come here just to have clickbait news all day. We came here to celebrate episode 50. Now, there's been something that I've been...
We did, and in grand style.
Yeah, there's something that I've been, I kind of promised the listeners I would tell them from the very beginning, and Fresco doesn't even know about this one. So this is going to be fun. Fresco, what I want to tell you and the listeners is I bought another air fryer.
Oh my God, that's not why we're here. Son of a bitch.
But I did though, and it's bigger than the last one. It's so wonderful looking. I can't wait, guys.
Oh my God. No. We can talk about the air fryer next week.
I want to talk about it now, though. So it's glass, so I'm not going to have to worry about scratching it or getting scrapes or anything like that.
Oh my God!
No paint's going to get chipped away, and it's so big I can legitimately cook fried chicken and French fries at the same time.
Yeah,
well, damn that! You better bake me a turducken for Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'm baking something big. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be big. It's going to be foul, and it's going to be roasted.
Before we get down to the rabbit hole of you two talking about food back and forth, please. I have a list.
I just want to make one other thing clear, Andy, if I may. Is it so crazy that I have gotten to this point in my life where I've become that age where cooking utensils are what excite me? Air fryers are things that I look forward to coming in the mail. I have come so far from watching people talk in toilets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And it does amaze me that you've come to that point. I mean, to a degree, like, because I'm sure a year ago, Lyle, would be disappointed in you for being so excited over an air fryer.
A year ago. lot more than just a year ago, Andy.
See, I don't know about that. I don't know if I believe that, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Lyle, you're a fairly husky man.
All right.
I would have to think that, and I can say this being a rather large man myself, that at least speaking from personal experience, there is not a day that goes by that where something can make food faster and better and more delicious has ever crossed your mind. Like, never crossed your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, growing up as a kid, you're like, oh, mom's making spaghetti, or mom's making this, or mom's making that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you get older, now it's, alright, I'm going to make this, and I'm going to make that.
But you're missing the point. The point was that I've come so far to be excited about these things as opposed to talking in toilets.
Yeah, I think he's going to need an explanation on that one.
All right, maybe I should give him something else then. Maybe not. Maybe talking in the toilets isn't really isn't doing it justice here. You see what I did there, Andy?
I see exactly what you did there, and bravo.
It's not doing it justice. Oh God, what else can I say?
Are you talking about Blumpkins?
I'm not talking about Blumpkins. No, God, no.
How about the like, 70 different ways that you learned how to make ramen?
I did learn how to make ramen noodles a lot of ways, kind of like mom's spaghetti. Not quite.
All right, moving on.
There's really nowhere else to go on from here, Fresco. I mean, what I'm trying to get at here is I spent a good amount of time, like 2 to 3 years, give or take, in between county jail and state prison. And I am finally here to tell all kind of stories from that time. And one of them is talking into toilets.
All right.
You remember when we made the joke about Packers earlier?
Oh, okay.
I was not a Packer, nor was I being packed. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just,
Isn't there, though?
I mean, if it's unwarranted, yes.
Yeah, just a bit.
Your list, Andy. While Fresco takes this all in.
Okay. So
I ain't taking that much in.
Okay. Item number 1. Did you have a Morgan Freeman?
Did I have it? Clarify, please.
Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah, I get that. What do you mean by that, though?
Okay, did you have a guy that could get you stuff?
What do you think? Of course I did. Are you kidding me? Okay, so
how did that interaction come about?
I'm not going to give away too many details because I don't want details that are not comical. This is purely for the sense of being funny. Okay? I just want to make that perfectly clear. We might do a weekly segment on this. I haven't decided yet, but whatever we do decide on it, it's going to be just for comedy value. And trust me, I have enough material we could do a weekly segment on it. That being said, I was coming close to what could have been potentially my release. I was trying to get onto a program that was kind of like an early release thing, kind of like Parole, a lot more strict. Anyway, it wasn't guaranteed that I was going to be released on it, though. So coming up to it, I had already been denied it once and was kind of worried that I was going to get denied it again. And it was like 2 days prior to my hearing that I came across my, as you would call it, Morgan Freeman. He was a gentleman that worked in the kitchen and claimed he can get me anything. Now, I asked him, how far do you mean by anything? And he said, what's the weirdest request you could possibly have? And my reply was a Super Nintendo with some, Chrono Trigger and just whatever other kind of long RPGs I can get my hands on.
Right.
And apparently he said that he would more than likely be able to pull that off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, prior to that, I did have him get me some stuff. Like, he used to get me fresh produce. He used to get me blocks of cheese.
White people and their cheese.
Look, man, it's crazy what you miss when you're in the joint, all right?
Did you have a prison wife?
No, I did not have a prison wife. I expected these jokes to come.
I mean, yeah, there is that. Okay, so this is funny because I get to get both of you with this one. Lyle, what set was the pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you stole to get you landed?
Fuck you! Fuck you!
If you would have kept your mouth shut, I would have never questioned it. And I'm like, that's kind of an odd question, but the set was so-and-so.
I hate you.
Let's see here.
Love you.
Yu-Gi-Oh set. Oh, that's adorable. They just claimed that they love each other. It would have probably been Lord of the Storm.
Oh. That's actually pretty topical.
Okay. Neat.
Hurricane season.
Oh, I see. I'm like, all right, I did something good. Good for me. I think that's right. Let's see here. Is that a set? I'm trying to go off of what I got here.
I have no idea. I don't even know Yu-Gi-Oh sets.
Okay. I don't either. Fresco, something tells me you might know something about Yu-Gi-Oh sets.
I do. You see, I too was arrested once.
Let it all out, Fresco. This is the reveal episode.
I was in Millville Walmart. We went in, and it was a friend of ours' little brother's birthday, and he was really into Yu-Gi-Oh. And we went into the store. I grabbed a pack off of the front shelf because that's where they kept them all, and it was in its little fake ass security box and shit. And I go into an aisle. I look around for cameras because I had worked at Wawa, so I kind of understood camera placements and which ones were probably fake and which ones were real. And I scoped everything out, and I plucked out these cards, put them in my jacket pocket, walked out the door, took the jacket off, put it in the car that I came in. Nobody else was outside, so I went back into the store to find everybody. Hold on now.
Okay, all right.
A buddy of mine heard that I was able to pull it off, and he goes up front and grabs a pack.
Oh, no.
He goes into a random aisle, doesn't look around, just looks over his shoulder to see if anybody's there, opens his pack, puts them in his pocket, we go outside. He texts everybody, because I didn't have a cell phone at the time. He texts everybody, we gotta go, let's go. Well, while we're waiting for them, he hands me the cards so I can thumb through them, because I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. And I was looking to see if any of the cards were of decency that he had gotten. Meanwhile, while I'm thumbing through these, I get a tap on the back of my shoulder, and it's a guy going, Walmart security needs you to come back in with me. Just don't put up a scene, don't put up a fight. I know what you got. You didn't buy those. Let's go. So we go back into the store.
Oh, you mean you immediately don't just drop everything and start feeling around and go, where's my dog?
No. This was years ago. So I still had not perfect eyesight, but I had eyesight. Anyway, so we get in there. He calls the cops. The cops come. They arrest me. Leave my buddy out of it entirely. And the reasoning being is possession was 9/10 of the law.
Yep. That sounds about right.
So they took me off to the Millville police station. They booked me. My mom came, posted my bail.
My mom came, cried, why, where have I gone wrong?
Because at the time we were having our own issues at home because they were foreclosing on our house.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, this could not have come at a more opportune time for you to fuck up.
Good for you, Fresco. I am not telling my arrest story, by the way, but I have plenty of other stories to tell.
Fine.
Since then, I haven't done anything else that stupid, other than bark at a cop.
Right.
Well, it's better than calling Suey.
No, but I have asked if anybody else could smell bacon.
Well, haven't we all?
I remember being in a car when we ran a yellow light, but the officer also ran a yellow light. There was almost a collision, and then he immediately turns back around with his lights on. He's like, you want to tell me what you were doing back there? I was like, the same thing you were doing, officer. Oh, those are fun.
The Rebel Andy.
Oh, man. I have been pulled over shirtless before. That was fun. But I digress.
Such a redneck thing to do.
I know.
Right?
But anyway.
My freaking bird chest. Rob, do you have a question before I keep going?
I do, actually. Have you ever had prison hooch?
Oh, that's a good question. No, because... Well,
that was so disappointing. Hold on a second. That was really disappointing, because even the freaking muff divers in Orange is the New Black have a person that makes hooch.
I'm not saying we didn't have a guy, and I'm not saying it wasn't in the process of being done. What happened was we had it, and it was pretty much all there, and we had all the ingredients we needed. It was just time that was the last ingredient that we needed. And the problem was we ended up getting raided before it fully fermented and was drinkable. So they took it away, obviously, and we started another one, obviously, and I ended up getting shipped out to prison before that one was finished. So almost, but not quite.
Ooh, I have another one here. Alright, so it's actually pretty far down my list. I'm surprised. I should have had that up further. Any particular reason why you avoided the exercise equipment?
You know what's funny? I actually have an answer.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
So, funny enough, I didn't always... Okay. Alright, story time. The exercise equipment, as it were, a lot of people immediately assume any kind of association with correctional facilities, be it jail, state prison, whatever, they automatically have workout equipment. People do nothing but work out. You're mostly right. I did work out in the county jail. The problem was there was no workout equipment, so it was all calisthenics, push-ups. Let's be honest, I didn't do any sit-ups, but I did do push-ups, dips, and I attempted to pull up once. Realized that I could not lift my own body weight.
I got a longer sentence.
Wasn't surprised. Gave up miserably. Cried a little bit. Went back to my push-ups and dips. But what I did realize is a couple of guys in there came up with this ingenious idea to take trash bags, fill them up with water, tie them up, take other trash bags, tie them all together so that there was no way that these things were bursting open unless you legitimately threw them to the ground, and tied them to the ends of broomsticks and used them kind of like as weights. And that worked really well. Again, we got raided. They cut open the bags, and that was the end of that. When I went down to state prison, there was workout equipment, and I didn't use it. Okay. The reason why was because the prison I was in was medium security, which meant I was locked in for 23 hours and only had 1 hour recreational time. And it was my choice whether I wanted that recreational time to be indoors or outdoors. And the indoor one that, you'd actually have like rec time, like working out and stuff, was during the daytime. And I wasn't a loser. I had a job. So I went to work instead of working out. I was an English teacher, which is why you may have heard me say that before. Yeah. So I did English teaching in the morning, and then I went to a music program in the afternoon, played drums for a couple of hours, came back, ate dinner, did my outdoor rec or phone call time or shower time or whatever, stuff like that, and went to sleep. Woke up the next morning, repeated it all. So to answer your question is, I had better things to do. That's why I didn't work out. Touch the workout equipment. I did play basketball. I played plenty of basketball when I went outside. So
neat.
That.
Hearing you talk about the trash bag thing, brings me to another random question I have over here. What is the most intelligent thing you've ever seen somebody like engineer?
Oh my God. I have a great answer for this one.
Okay.
County jail, you're not allowed to smoke cigarettes at all. Tobacco was completely illegal. It was to be handled the same as any kind of other paraphernalia was, be it drugs, whatever. State prison, a little different. You can actually buy cigarettes off the commissary.
Huh.
The problem is when you first get there, you don't get commissary for a couple of weeks. So you have to rely on other people giving you cigarettes. And the hardest thing about that was, giving someone a cigarette was just a little tiny cigarette because you rolled your own. And they weren't giving you what they were smoking because they were used to them. They were giving you a little pinner because you weren't used to it. And you were satisfied with it. The problem was they wouldn't give you matches with them. So you had to like scrounge for one match. I've seen people split matches down in half and use each side of it for 2 different times, which was smart enough. But way more smarter than that, there was electrical outlets in the rooms. I've seen someone break apart a pencil, take the lead out of the pencil, break that in half, stick it in each prong of the electrical outlet, and then like drop something metal in between the 2 prongs while holding a Q-tip in between the 2 prongs as well, catching the spark from the metal going in between the 2 lead, and the spark catches the Q-tip on fire. They use the fire from the Q-tip to light the cigarette.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have never in a million years thought to do that.
No. When I seen it, I was just like, what kind of sorcery did you just do? This man just created fire out of nowhere.
Huh.
And if I didn't see it myself, I would not have believed it could work. Like, I was just like, no, that can't work. I don't know what kind of cheap Q-tips they were. I don't know what kind of metal they were dropping in between the 2 sticks of lead. But my God, it was fascinating. And I was just like, I don't think I have the gall to do that just to get a puff of a cigarette. But bravo.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it always amazes me, like, like, they say that, necessity is the mother of invention, and I'm like, well, that's, I could see that, where, like, you have very limited resources, you have very limited things that you have access to, like, what, you have it in your head that this is the goal that you want to accomplish, like, these are what I have, alright, go,
Yeah, absolutely. So the one story I do want to tell real quick before we get too carried away here, it goes along with this great idea thing. it's kind of what I started with, the whole talking in the toilet bowl thing.
Oh, right.
So, I'm going to tell the story the same way I tell all my friends. Here's how it goes down. I'm on the phone one day, and it was an important phone call, and I needed a pencil for information to write down or whatever. So no one had one around then. No one had a pen or a pencil or anything to write with. So I had to go back to my cell to get, because it was like a big common area, and then individual cells. So I had to go back to my cell to get a pen or a pencil, whatever. When I got back to my cell, on the door, it's a big steel door and it's a little tiny window. The window had an envelope-sized glass on it, and that's pretty much all you could see. It's just the size of an envelope. So people would take paper towels or toilet paper or whatever and just kind of wet them and stick them up there. And the reason they did that was to signify, hey, I'm taking a shit. Don't come in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because, we shared this cell with everyone else, and there was one toilet in there. Not everyone else, but there was 4 people to a cell, unless you were a trustee like I was, in which case you only had 2 or 3, so it wasn't so crowded. But yeah, so I go back to get a pen, and I see this signal of, someone's in there pooping. I'm like, alright, well, guess I can't get a pen. So I tried knocking and going, hey, whoever's in there, can you just, slide a pen under the door for me real quick? Because, it was kind of an emergency. And the guy inside was just kind of like, open the door. Well, here we go. I knew this was going to happen one day. Rather not. Can I just have the pen? Man, just open the door. Oh, well, you come this far, Lyle. So I open the door, and I see a guy in there, and he's got this long cardboard tube sticking out of the toilet, and he's talking into it, and he says, here's a pen. And I'm just like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, man, you never see. I'll explain later. All right. So I shut the door, shake my head a little bit, and go back and handle my phone call. Later on that night, I come across the guy again, and I'm like, you got to tell me, what were you doing earlier? He was, oh, right, I never showed you. Okay, check this out, right? So he gets up, and he goes over to the toilet, and he sits on the toilet. Now, before he does, he's like, I'm going to show you something really cool. And he sits down, and he just starts bouncing up and down on the toilet, like while sitting. It was really weird. And he's like, you got to do this at first. I'm like, all right, man, what are you doing here? And he's like, watch, you'll see. So he eventually gets up and he goes, now look inside the toilet. Weirded out yet again, still I look. There's little to no water in there all of a sudden. And I'm like, what are you trying to accomplish here? He goes, see, there's still a little bit left, but if I go just a little longer, he sits back down and he starts going to town on it again. He gets up and he goes, you see, there's like nothing in there now, just some moisture, right? I said, yeah, I guess so. So he takes this little rag that was on the sink, and I didn't realize was for the toilet this whole time. And he starts wiping out the inside of it. And he puts it back on there or whatever. And, whoa, buddy. Easy with that microphone breathing. Okay. like I know you're excited. I'm excited too. Let's go through the story together.
I was itching my lip and I hit my microphone closer to my mouth. I apologize.
It's all good, man. So he gets all the water up, stops it all up with the rag or whatever, and then he reaches behind the sink, which I didn't know there was anything behind. I didn't know you could stick anything behind there. And he pulls out this long cardboard tube, and it was pretty much constructed of the core of a roll of toilet paper, just several of them shoved together, and just all like one long lightsaber of toilet paper rolls. And he kind of like shoves it down there and just talks into it and says, A-Pod. Now I'm really freaked out, as you can imagine. We are in an area called C-Pod at the time, and each pod is labeled by a different letter. A-Pod, as it was the female pod. So I'm just waiting to see where this is going next. Sure enough, a female voice comes from out the toilet and goes, yeah. And I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. He has found a way to communicate with the people that were living underneath of us, being that they were female.
Wow.
By, humping all the water into the system of the toilet, sopping up the leftovers with a rag that I did not know was for the toilet, and using several toilet paper cores as a microphone of sorts to talk to women below us through the plumbing. Now that's crazy idea number 2. I don't know which one of those is more genius, but I can tell you which one of them is more useful.
Fair. I wonder if
you wiped your face with that toilet rag, didn't you?
No, I didn't, but I did clean dishes with it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, did they do, like, phone sex over the toilet?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't ask that question. What I do know is at one point I walked in on him doing it. I don't know if he forgot to put a blocker up or what, but it was an accident. I walked in on him, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Snoop Dogg's work or not, but he just started mimicking this one voice that Snoop Dogg had on one of his CDs. It was a DJ, and he was just like, "All right, y'all, you're back at the Jack Off Hour with DJ Easy Dick. And right about now, we're about to kick something off with something a little sensual." And he just like went into this long spiel as if he was a DJ. I was like, oh my god, that's freaking hysterical, but really weird. I'm leaving. So, yeah, I like I said, don't know what he was doing. I can only assume it was that, but what I don't know won't hurt me, right?
I guess. Wow.
How bad is prison food, actually?
Oh,
my next question was food, too.
I'm so glad you asked. It all depends on who's cooking it. You see, Fresco, my job on the inside was to make meals for people. And it wasn't a job that was provided to me from the county or the state or anything like that. No, I took it upon myself. What happened was, I was watching TV one day, and I seen a commercial for a brand new product from Taco Bell. And I wanted it. It was the Cheesy Gordita Crunch. And it looked fantastic. The strings of cheese, just as you broke it in half, and just so much cheese. I was like, I want that. And I knew we had tortillas on the commissary, and I knew we had all kinds of different things. I was like, I'm making some. So I got to work, and I started theory crafting, brainstorming, whatever you want to call it, all this different kind of stuff from the commissary menu. You know how they say don't go shopping when you're hungry? Well, do the complete opposite when you're in there, because let me tell you something, it worked like crazy. I would come up with these meals sometimes that, like, I shocked myself making. I made pizza. I made beef lo mein. I made sweet and sour pork. Chili cheese fries.
Wow.
And most of it was the same ingredients. It was always potato chips, cheese puffs, ramen noodles, and saltine crackers. It's just those 4 things always had something to do with it. So to answer your question, the food that they provide you with, they have their good days and their bad days. But the food that you can create yourself, you can make some gourmet stuff in there. I made pizza, and I legitimately, like, it's funny because I actually talked to someone that I was in there with still to this day, and I would love to get him on here. I think that'd be awesome. Just so he can kind of like bounce stories off of each other. That could be fun one day. Anyway, if the case ever happens that we get him in here, he can vouch for me. I legitimately had people lined up outside of our cell to get a slice of pizza. And I'm not just talking about the inmates. Inmates and the correctional officers themselves, the guards.
Wow.
The guards brought me, like, fast food for pizza. So,
wow.
That's insane. Like they can eat pizza when they want to. Like, why would they come to you for it?
Pizza. And the crazy thing is I was in Bridgeton. Bridgeton had Big John's. They were right next to Big John's. They wanted my pizza over Big John's pizza.
No, honestly, I would take your pizza. I don't even care if it was just fucking ketchup on crackers. It is way better than Big John's pizza.
Oh, no. Let me tell you, I can't give all my secrets out because I might still publish a cookbook one day. But I will say this, it was not just ketchup on crackers. It was a legitimate crust and dough. Like, it was a pizza. And it had legitimate sauce on there with legitimate cheese on top. Everything was legitimate. It looked like a pizza. I legitimately had to cut it like a pizza. It was a Sicilian style, but Yeah. I'll also give you one more bonus story regarding food. You know how, and I'm sure this might even be on your list, but if not, you might eventually think of it. The question always gets asked is, did you ever have a shank or a blade of some sort?
That was one of my questions, yeah.
Well, I'll answer it for you. I did, in a sense. I once stole a shaving razor.
It doesn't count.
No.
Oh.
I stole a shaving razor because every Saturday they would come around and they would have a bag of, throwaway disposable razors to shave your face with. And you would sign for them, and you would say that you wanted one or two, because sometimes, one wasn't enough because you had a lot of facial hair or whatever. And you would sign your name, and when they came and got it, you would put it back, and they would cross your name off saying that you returned them. This way no one would steal them. One time, you remember those little juice cups you used to get in elementary school, maybe, that had the tinfoil lids?
Oh, yeah.
And you, poke this straw through or whatever and drink through them, or sometimes you just peel back the tinfoil and drink them. Well, we got those in there. So I took the tinfoil off of one, and I took apart one of the disposable razors. I took the blade out, and I put the tinfoil in there to look like a blade. And I returned the razor as is. And they, was like, okay, cool. Yep, you're done. Next.
Wow.
So now I had a blade. Now I know what you're asking yourself. Well, why did you have a blade? Well, I'll tell you why I had a blade. See, there was another guy in there. He also had a blade, but he had a whole razor. He had the whole disposable razor thing. The reason he used that was he did tattoos. So he would shave people's arms or whatever they wanted tattooed. He would shave it, and he would do the tattoo there. I needed that razor. I needed the harness. I had a blade. I needed the harness. So I made a deal with him. I forget what I ended up giving him, but I bought his razor harness off of him. I said, I don't want your blade. You can keep that. I just want the harness. He goes, all right. So I sanitized it very good, and then I stuck my fresh new blade in there, and now I had something that when I wanted to cook my sweet and sour pork, I can shave my oranges for orange zest for the sauce. That's what I stole a razor for.
I do not even know how to react. My first thing I wanted to do was laugh in your face, but I was just so stunned that of all the things, you go through this fucking MacGyver covert shit to get this weapon, and the only thing you want to do with it is fucking use it for orange zest.
It's the only thing I do with it, I swear.
Oh my god!
Let me tell you something, though. Let me tell you something. That sweet and sour pork was so good, a Muslim ate it.
Wow.
And they knew what it was. Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus. You would too. You fucking would.
Well, of course.
Did you ever watch Orange Is the New Black?
I did not, and everyone always tells me, "I'm great, you gotta watch it." And I'm like, eh.
Okay, so there's this part in it where this one chick is being spurned by the person who runs the kitchen, and she's deliberately starving her out. She's not giving her any food. So the girl that's being starved out starts collecting all these resources, and you think with all the stuff that she's getting, it's like, oh my god, she's making a homemade pepper spray or bomb or something like that, because she's getting these different ingredients and then hot peppers, really hot peppers, and she's going, oh, she's probably gonna spray in the eyes or something like that. She's like, let her come. And no, freaking women prisoners. She makes a soothing cream with the ingredients, something topical, and gives it to her as a gift to help her ease some pain relief that she's having or something like that, to make amends and then start getting food from the kitchen again. And it works. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that seems like you. You're getting all this shit together that, somebody would think that, oh, this is a deadly weapon. It's like, nope, he's using it for, creature comforts. Oh, my God.
I will have you know, I used to get paid to cook for people.
You were a prison chef.
I was. Very much was. And I I took my business very serious. Okay, I needed to stay on the up and up of what was in people's mouths,
as opposed to what was going in your mouth.
Funny enough, like that was my main thing.
Oh, tell me there's a story about that.
No, I'm just saying, like I like to have good food. That's pretty much it. That's all there is to it.
I thought I was gonna get a blowjob story.
No, there's no blowjob stories. I'm sorry to disappoint.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, so that's that.
I mean, no, I can keep going. I got more.
We got a little bit more time. We can do one or two.
Okay, did you ever have a nemesis?
Oh my god. I legitimately never got that question asked. Yes. Yes, I did. There was a guy I hated in there. I don't even... Okay, so... Obviously, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to give out full names or whatever, but his nickname was Bus. This dude was ginormous. He was just a fat, and this come from me, fat, tall, just white trash piece of work, He was just everything about him. And the worst part about it is he would stand in front of a mirror, topless, rub his chest, and talk about how sexy he looked.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, dude. And he was just sloppy. Everything about him was sloppy. He was just a friggin' slob. Like, I cooked for him one time, right? And I made him and his cellmates chili cheese nachos. One of my favorites to make, because I like nachos. But I made him nachos, and one of my things I used to tell him was like, kind of hang out outside of the room. Let me do my work in here, and I'll come and get you when it's done. Okay? So I did that, and I brought him in there, and you would think he was on like some sort of reality TV show, because he walked in and it was just like, oh. He was like, it smells like a wonderful Mexican restaurant in here or something. Like, he was just going on and on about how great it was. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, just pay me and I'll be on my way. So he did, and, it wasn't so much him saying, okay, here you go, here's your payment. It was him attacking his bowl of nachos and telling one of his cellmates to pay me. And it was just, you seen a flurry of just chips flying everywhere and just chili all over his face. And I'm like, this dude is disgusting. It was awful. Like, I mean, look. We've all been there before, right? We've all been there where we were just attack something because we were so hungry. Usually it's in the privacy of our own home, or just when no one else is around. Certainly not a place where you're trying to make yourself look good in front of people, like make yourself look intimidating, or don't make yourself look like such a piece of garbage.
Right.
But that's what he would do, and he would do stuff like that, and he would cheat all the time. Didn't matter what he was playing. He just cheated in everything. Because we played a lot of poker, we played a lot of like spades and chess, dominoes, just all kind of like, games in there to pass the time. And every single one of them he would cheat. And when you would catch him cheating, he would always say the same thing. First he would swear to God. And eventually I was just like, I'm not buying it anymore. Come on, stop. I know you cheated. Look, I will put this on my kid's life. Is what he told me. Looked me dead in the eye and said it. You kind of have no choice but to believe someone when they throw those words out at you. You know what I mean? So right. I did, and later on found out he was in fact lying, even though he was saying those words. Now, I feel kind of foolish, hindsight, for believing someone that was in jail, even though they put it on their, whatever. It's just, you gotta take someone's word every once in a while. You can't just assume everyone's a liar. And I did, and oh my god, I hated this guy, okay? I hated him. Nothing ever happened between the two of us. It was just, well known that the two of us did not care for one another.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a small question.
Okay.
What is the funniest nickname somebody's ever gone by?
Oh, where do I begin?
Right? Because I'd imagine there'd be quite a few.
No one goes by their real name in that place. No one.
No, I'd imagine not.
I mean, I did, because I'm not taking a nickname. No thanks. So, there was this one...
Did somebody give you a nickname?
You know, they tried, but it just never stuck. A couple of Mexican guys in there, they didn't speak English too well. Let's just say, they didn't stay in our country very long.
Okay.
Yeah, the one referred to me as Big Country, which always cracked me up. I don't know why. I guess because of the beard and just being white. But anyway, yeah, it didn't really stick or anything. He used to call me it. And then eventually, for some reason, resorted to calling me Mr. Country as opposed to Big Country. And I was like, well, at least I'm getting respect.
Yeah, I'm about to say, sign of respect.
His name was Gafas, which
wow.
I'm sure you may or may not know stands for sunglasses. He had a glass eye, and he used to always wear sunglasses outside, but they didn't let him have sunglasses in there, so he had to stare people down with his glass eye. But name stuck anyway. Anyway, not the weirdest name. Believe it or not, there was this guy in there. I don't know where he got the name from, but he went by Butu, except he didn't go by Butu. And he was a very eccentric kind of fella. Someone would come in and see him, and I guess he's been in here long enough that no one's seen him since he's decided to change his name. Because he wasn't going by Butu anymore, he was now going by T-Smooth. And people would be like, oh, is that Butu? And he would legitimately be like, oh, snap, what up? I mean, it's not Butu, homie. It's T-Smooth. I'm not Butu anymore. It's T-Smooth now. Wow. And he would, really send that home before carrying on the conversation. It just used to crack me up. I used to make fun of him a lot. It was fun. There was that. There was another one where the guy went by, for privacy's sakes, we're going to say it was his first name and his last initial. We'll say Timmy T.
Okay.
And he used to, it's not really a funny nickname, but he used to refer to himself constantly in the third person.
Okay.
So he was older, but clearly jacked. Like, the dude was ripped, but he was in his 50s. So he looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger walking around. And he was just kind of oh, yeah, Timmy T, do what I want. Timmy T does what he wants. Timmy T gonna go over here and watch this movie. That's legitimately what he would do. He was like a Pokemon. He would just constantly say his own name.
I'll choke your ass.
It was hysterical. Yeah, so I mean, there was a couple of characters in there, and funny enough, me and another guy at one point, I don't think he's alive anymore. I think he overdosed on a lot of drugs. He came up with the idea, me and him, to write a cartoon series based on what we've seen in there.
Oh, jeez.
We had a couple episodes figured out, but I told him I wouldn't make it without him, and if he's dead, then I'm pretty sure that gives me the right.
So if the podcast doesn't work out, I think I know what else we could do.
You know anyone that could draw?
I do, actually.
Maybe we could do another radio play with something like that. Halloween is coming up.
Ooh, yeah, it is.
But I mean, let's leave him wanting more, right? So let's unless Fresco has anything else he'd like to ask, because it's going to be a while before you're back on, buddy. So do you have anything else? Did you ever have any inclinations or ideas or clues about me living such a double life?
No, actually.
I'm not kidding when I say this, ladies and gentlemen. Fresco had no idea.
I legitimately had no idea.
Yeah. I was talking this over with another friend of ours while we were helping you move last week. And he and I were talking about it, and I told him what episode 50 was going to be about and why it was so important to have you on it. And he was just like, wait a minute. He knew him for like over a year now. He just never knew. I'm like, it never came up. He's like,
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Right, naturally it doesn't matter, but it's usually something I tell people anyway, just because it's like, if I know you well enough, it's something you should know. But eventually it's gotten so far in that it was just like, you know what? I'm going to let this one ride, and we're going to make a hysterical thing out of it with episode 50. Like, me and Andy had this episode planned since, like, episode 2.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hence the list.
Yeah. If you go back, well, you can't because it's not released yet, but I don't know if it's 2 or not, but we have said it several times throughout the 49 episodes. Like, that's got to wait till episode 50. That's got to wait till episode 50, And it's just always little hints that we were dropping. And that's what it was all referring to.
Damn.
Yeah.
I feel like a fool.
Yeah.
Did you get into any kerfuffles?
So that's something I kind of didn't want to touch on.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I will gladly tell you about stuff off mic, but certainly not recording.
Okay, that's fine. Did you ever have any private time because there's no women in prison, did you ever have any private time, or was that the furthest thing from your mind?
Yeah, Lyle, how was that?
It's so funny because I do have a story. It's funny, but not for the reason you're hoping for. I will put it to you this way. Clearly people did have private time. I once cleaned a shower. That was disgusting. I did, and when I say once, I mean once. I was given the role of trustee of the pod, which means I had to help clean up, and the guards trusted me a little bit more than everyone else. So, it was me and several other people, and I did it one time and was like, I'm not doing that again. Either I'm not going to be this anymore, or someone else is doing that from now on. And another person that, just was like, all right, I'll do it. Whatever. Just you do this instead. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I don't have to clean up dead babies anymore. So, like, you could just smell sadness in there, and I was just like, oh, I don't even want to shower anymore. Like, what do you do when the one place to get clean is already dirty? Anyway.
Dear Lord.
Yeah. So, funny story. There was I got a couple actually. There was a time where just out of nowhere someone went kind of nuts and took a shit in the middle of the shower. That was fun.
I don't even know what that would look like. Somebody just went nuts. I was like, I gotta get out of here. Ah!
So, just to end all common knowledge real quick, contrary to popular belief, both places that I've been at had single individual showers. There was no group showers. That's, it's not... Yeah, scratch that one off the list. So, the guy everyone thought was going in there for just normal shower time. It took a little bit longer and came out and, didn't necessarily look clean. And the next person that went in there to go take a shower was like, somebody dropped a chocolate bar in here. And they dropped it in a swirl fashion somehow.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at it, thank goodness. Yeah, again, already given up the role of cleaning showers, so it wasn't my responsibility. But, yeah, that was gross. He got taken to a medical area to be evaluated. Another story I had... Oh, I remember. So, I don't know why your question reminded me of this. I guess to really answer your question is that it wasn't exactly the closest thing on my mind all the time. So, yeah, there's that. But there was a time where it was like... Okay, so there was, like I said, I was in a trustee area, right? So someone would leave, and we would have to replace that person that left with someone new, someone that we all trusted and was like, yep, this is going to be the guy to take over that person's role. Absolutely, let's bring him in. Well, this one guy came in. He's been eyeing up the position for a while, whatever. So finally, there was a slot open, and we're like, "Yep, let's get this guy in here absolutely right away." So he comes in, whatever. It works out perfectly. He's, does his work really well, takes it serious, blah blah blah. And a couple weeks go by, and eventually he's just like, he's packing up all of his stuff and like kind of acting like he's leaving. And I'm like, "Are you going home?" And he goes, No, not like that. "What are you doing?" "I'm switching rooms." "What happened? Is everything all right?" He goes, "All right, man. I liked you, so I'll tell you what's going on." And he kind of pulls me to the side, and he's like, "I don't know what it is, but every night around the same time, and it's weird because it's at the same exact time every night. So it has to be something with this room. At first I thought it was one of you guys, but now I'm certain it's something with this room. I get the most foul-smelling odor creeping to my nose. I can't sleep at night. It wakes me up out of my sleep, and I can't go back to sleep, and I'm gagging every night. Like, I have to go." What he didn't know was around the same time every night, I would take as many blankets, cushions, and everything as I possibly could and muffle the sound of my gas leaking out my butthole as much as possible. I was blowing that room up every night.
Wow.
It was like the Holocaust in there, dude. It was just gassing the entire chamber out.
Oh my god.
He had no idea because, like he said, how could it be someone if it's the same time every night? It was just my body was on a schedule, man. Every night I had to fart at the same time. And do you have any idea what prison food smells like coming out of you?
Well, especially the stuff that you're making. Like, you're making, like, homemade, like, nachos and freaking, cheesy gordita crunch wraps. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was legitimately, I farted someone out of the room.
God, man.
Again, I don't know why that question made me think of it, but yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, you ever have personal time? It's like, to fart. But...
a certain someone that listens to the podcast that was anticipating this episode coming, told me to say that one, and I couldn't remember what it was, and you saying that reminded me what it was. So I was like, I have to tell the story. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that will do it for the episode, and we should just probably name it and be on our merry way.
Well, any thoughts?
Well,
Mind blown.
I mean, something to do with gas chamber, I'd imagine. Cheesy gordita Holocaust?
The penitentiary poops.
No, I don't want penitentiary in the title. I want people, like, it's buried enough that I want people to have to listen to it to get to the gold.
Okay. Beat them poots.
Then you got me stuck on poots.
Right? And you try to think of other shit, and I keep coming up with, like, ass blasting.
How about something with orange zest? Zesty story time.
Wow, it is really hard for this one.
Pooping on that zest.
Again with the Putin.
I'm all about the Putin, man.
He's a commie. He's a commie. How about sweet and sour stink?
That'll work. I was gonna say potty talk.
Potty talk.
Wait.
I like potty talk.
Potty talk works.
Potty talk works. That will do it for the ever so wanted episode 50. Finally made it here. Aptly titled.
Yay.
Potty Talks. Potty Talks or Potty Talk?
It could be either one. Because I just get the image of the guy with the rolled up rolls with shoved into the toilet. Potty talk. Hi, you're listening to Potty
Let's
Talk.
put the S on it. Potty Talks.
Potty Talks.
All right, I
All
like
you
Potty
fine
Talk.
ass bitches.
When we end this podcast, I'm playing that segment for you guys. But alright, that'll do it for this week's edition. Episode 50, titled Potty Talks. My name is Lyle.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Fresco.
Hopefully we'll see you next week, right, Andy?
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
You heard it here first. No reason not to. See you next week, folks.
Later. Bye.
One last thing before we go. I know I already said bye. We already said see you next week. Andy already did his, bye, whatever it is that he does. But the guys from Countdown to Geektown put together this little thing that was based off of me and Andy's episode 49. And it's a little thing, little musical number that Andy's singing and everything like that. It's hysterical. Anyway, I'm going to attach it to the end of this episode, and that's pretty much it.
Sure.
Yeah, alright. As long as everyone's good with that. That's all. Bye.
Yeah, no, we're fine. Neat. I could pack it away. Like, if anybody, like, was like, oh, hey, I bet you that I could eat more sushi than you, and I'm like, you're on. Like, I will take that bet in a heartbeat. Because I do know how to pack it away. It's like, I've eaten a whole pizza by myself. It's good. I'll eat that all day long. And when anybody be like, oh, hey, I can join at the table, like, I'll start on top of the table. I'll meet you there. Come with me, and you'll see a world of pure imagination. And there you'll be free, unless you're away. If you want to view Poland, want to guess around, there's nothing to it.
But if you brought chicken wings into the night, cool. I can quit.
Okay, so that all depends if they're boneless or not.
Oh, dear Lord.
Who needs bones? I'm not paying for a part of the food I can't eat.
I know. Like the difference in the amount of cheeseburgers you would eat compared to the amount of cheeseburgers I would eat.
Oh, you are. And don't forget my sippy. And can I interest you in 100% real fruit juice? No. What is this, Countdown to Geektown? We're not doing that.